12 signs, 6 signs are masculine sign, are actually diurnal. They are related powerful, and there are rest of these 6 even sign or feminine sign that are nocturnal sign. And this distribution is very essential and very important, and this is related to the technique of sect. So this is the distribution of planets. Planets are nocturnal, planets are diurnal, sign are nocturnal, sign are diurnal. So what about places? Places mean houses, right? First house, second house, third house, eighth house, ninth house. So 12 places are divided into two halves, right? From ascendant 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 in reverse, right? This is a visible hemisphere. This is the part of the sky you can see, right? Anytime, whether it's a daytime, whether it's a night time. So this part is visible hemisphere. And the second part of the chart that is invisible from the degree of ascendant onward, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, and up to the degree of this is invisible hemisphere. This is below the horizon, and this concept is also very much existed in Indian astrology. I think it's a uh, Drish Bhag or Adrish Bhag of Indian astrology concept. So basically, one should remember this. This is above horizon is a visible half, and below invisible hemisphere is below horizon. This is an important question. So can we move on the next slide? So okay, now earlier I told you there is a day chart and there is a night chart. Suppose if you are born in a daytime, anytime daytime from 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 12, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. up to the sunset. Anytime between sunrise to sunset is a daytime birth. In this time, certain part of your chart, the half, is diurnal and nocturnal. You are born in daytime, so your chart is termed or called diurnal chart, right? And in your chart, the part of the chart, the half of first house, 12th house, 11th house, 10th house, 9th house, 8th house, 7th house, half of 7th house, or sometimes full. It's the visible hemisphere, it's the diurnal hemisphere. This is important. And the other half of the chart is actually invisible hemisphere, and therefore it is called the nocturnal hemisphere. So in this category or in this concept, we have earlier understand that the Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun are diurnal planets, and in daytime chart they are actually a kind of functional benefic or functionally powerful. So Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun, if they are in visible hemisphere at the daytime, they add more beneficial. Saturn is a natural malefic, right? Great. But for a daytime chart, anybody, Saturn may behave somewhat functional benefic. I'm using the word functional for the ease of Indian audience, right? And Jupiter is a natural benefic. Good, great. But if you are a daytime birth, if you are born in daytime, so Jupiter would act as a double benefic, right? Sun is not benefic, not malefic. It's more like a luminary or Kashgira. So, but Sun will give you great result related to authority or power or recognition or fame, etc., etc. Because in daytime birth, Sun is more important, right? In daytime birth, Mars, Venus, Moon, they are not acting, or you may say they are somewhat functional malefic or functionally less powerful or problematic planet if keeping all other factors constant. So Mars is natural malefic, right? But for a daytime birth, Mars may play a role of more malefic or more rough planet, right? Venus is a natural benefic in Western astrology, in Indian astrology, everywhere. But in a daytime chart, Venus is not so much benefit benefit for daytime birth because it's a nocturnal planet and it acts well in night time in nocturnal chart, right? So as the moon is somewhat benefic, especially if it is bright or Pakshmara. Uh, but for a daytime bird, moon is somewhat less benefic, right? More like a functional malefic. Functional malefic is not a good word, but I'm just using it for the ease of our audience. So this is the two category of planet. Remember, if you are born in day, Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun are in your favor more than their nature, right? And if you are born in night time, Mars, Venus, and Moon are not in your favor. Keeping other factor constant, it's not mean everybody born in a daytime has a must have a bad Martian characteristic of Venus. No, 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 no. There are other parameter as well, but this is a very basic concept. So this is for anybody in daytime, born in daytime, diurnal, right? So next slide. What about the night? Yes. The next one. Okay, so this is yes, this is yes, 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 this one. Correct. This is actually the yes, no, yes. This is about the night time chart. If you are born in any time in night, suppose after sunset, like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 11 p.m. or midnight or 3 a.m., late night or early morning. So you are actually a night birth chart. You have night birth chart, or this is also called nocturnal chart in traditional business astrology, right? In this case, the visible sphere of the chart or the sky is actually called the nocturnal hemisphere because in the night time you go to the roof of your house or apartment, what you see? It's a day or night. It's a dark sky. It's a nocturnal, right? In that, so this is a nocturnal hemisphere, and in this case, Mars, Venus, and Moon are more benefic, more in your favor, and more fortunate for you if you are born in a night birth chart, right? And, and on the other hand, Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun, because they are diagonal by nature, so they will not in favor. They are more somewhat problematic for you, or you may say functional malefic, kind of a functional malefic in a nighttime chart. If someone is born in a night time and Saturn is not well placed, it will create a lot of havoc. Or it's a natural malefic as well as a functional, kind of a functional malefic or a powerless or troublemaking planet. If for someone born in a night time, similarly, Jupiter, on the other hand, Jupiter is natural benefic. But if you are born in a night time, Jupiter may not give you all the good results. It's kind of a losing the sect, right? And Sun is, of course, not good, keeping other factors constant. So this is the two basic conditions. If you can go back to the back slide again about the date chart, I will explain. Uh, yes, this is about the day. This is the same thing. I've explained when the graphic was visible in diurnal chart. This is again summary. In diurnal chart, this is a day by chart, native born anytime from sunrise to sunset. If a diurnal planet, Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, right? Saturn or Jupiter or Sun or any of two of any of three is above horizon. That is anywhere in visible hemisphere part of your chart. That is 12th house, in 11th house, in 10th house, in 9th house, 7th house, or part of 7th house. Then it is good. And this goodness, this part is technically called Halb, Halb. This is a technical word. This is a technical word, right? This is a olden word of part of a set, right? If in a nocturnal planet in a daytime chart, right? Anybody born in a daytime chart, if he has Mars, Venus, or Moon below the horizon. What is below the horizon? That is the invisible half of your chart. That is a part of first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house. So if Mars is suppose in third house or Venus is in second house, right? This is good. This is great, right? And this benefic condition is called the Halb again, right? In if a diurnal planet again in a daytime, we are here on this page on the same on the same page. If a diurnal planet in a is above the horizon in daytime birth, and at the same time it is also in masculine sign, then this great combination is called the hayyiz or haze, right? So this is important. This is important because a planet is diurnal. You are born in a diurnal time. Daytime planet is also a day, and it is also in the day part of the chart, and also in masculine sign. It will act like a Rajyo, like a Rajyo. It is called technically called the hayyiz or haze. If you are using Western astrology software, you might see a option of sect, sect or haze. Haze is a Latinized word of the actual Arabic hayyiz. Hayyiz means haze means in its own place, in its own abode, right? Jupiter is a day planet. Jupiter feels good when it is in a day part of the chart, in 8th house, in 9th house, in 10th house, in 11th, 12th house, a part of first house, right? If at the suppose, this is an example, in a day chart, Jupiter is anywhere. So Jupiter in 8th house is by and large bad, right? Everyone has understand it. But if it is a daytime and it is also a masculine sign, most of the maleficence of 8th house will reduce because of this fact, because of the hayyiz and haze. This is the example of a daytime Jupiter. Suppose the Saturn is bad in 12th house, everybody knows, right? But suppose for the time being, Saturn in 12th house is in daytime chart, right? And Saturn is also in a masculine sign because Saturn is diurnal, masculine sign are also diurnal by nature. So this will reduce the maleficence or inauspiciousness of the Saturn in 12th house greatly, right? But on the other hand, Saturn in 12th house for a night time chart or nocturnal chart, it will produce a havoc. So as Jupiter in the 8th house. This is two extreme example, right? So this is for the daytime chart. Can we move on the next slide? The next to next, actually, where the explanation of the nighttime chart is explained. Yes, this one. So this is again about the sect, but in reverse order. The sect technique planets in night birth chart. Certain planets are good in night chart. In nocturnal chart, that is native born anytime from sunset to sunrise, right? This whole page is about the night chart. If you are born in 4 a.m., 5 a.m., or 3 a.m., or after sunset in 8 p.m., 9 p.m., anytime, right? Any ascendant. In nocturnal chart, right? If a nocturnal planet, what is nocturnal planet? Mars, Venus, Moon. Any of three, any of two, or all three, right? Above horizon. Above horizon mean invisible sky. 12th house, 11th house, 10th house, 9th house, part of 7, right? Then this is good, and this good condition is called Halb, 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 right? This is actual word, technical word. In nighttime chart, at the same time, if diurnal planet like Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun are below the horizon, that is part of first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, then it is good. This benefic condition is called again called Halb. Suppose in a nighttime chart, right? If you have a Mars in say 11th house, 10th house, 9th house, etc., anywhere in visible level, this is a great Mars. Mars is a nocturnal planet, and Mars is positioned in a nocturnal hemisphere. This is great, right? If Venus is suppose you are born in a night, Venus is in a first or 12th house, or even in a seventh or eighth house, in a nighttime chart after sunset, there is a rare possibility of having Venus in Halb, right? But if there is a condition, then this is a great Venus will bestow you to Venus will bestow great result, luxury, comfort, etc., etc. about the natural signification of the Venus and about its own rulership and lordship. So, as moon in anywhere in visible hemisphere in night chart. If you are born in night time and moon is even in eighth house, the worst place of the moon. If you are born in a night time, suppose you are born in a midnight, 12 a.m., right? And you have a moon in eighth house, this is somewhat good. Although by nature, eighth house is against the nature of the moon, right? It may give you some bad result like early widowhood of the mother or etc. But moon in eighth house is good for wealth, for general comfort, for popularity, for recognition, because moon is a nocturnal planet. In night born chart, moon is in a visible hemisphere in nocturnal. Despite in eighth house, this is an extreme example as well again. But suppose if moon is in a 9, 10, 11th house, great. In night chart, if moon is in a visible house, that's great. It acts like a yogara, right? Because in this condition, moon must be in a pakshbal or very bright and visible in the sky. So this is a position of a halb, right? Mars, Venus, Moon, either of a planet in visible sky. In night chart, in anybody born in a night time, what about Saturn, Jupiter, and Sun? They should be in invisible house, right? In the second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, anywhere. It is better. It is better to have Jupiter in invisible house rather than visible house in night chart. Suppose if you are born in a night time and your Jupiter is in ninth house, it is not very much favorable to you. It's a natural benefit and it may give you some good result related to ninth house of fortune, but it should ideally be in invisible house. Fifth house or fourth house Jupiter in a night chart is great asset rather than having a Jupiter in ninth or tenth. So this is a help. And if at the same time, if a nocturnal chart is visible, suppose on the above the horizon in 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, etc., and at the same time, if that planet is also in feminine sign, suppose Mars is in a Scorpio, Mars is in a Capricorn, Mars is in a Pisces. These all are feminine signs. So these are actually nocturnal planet in nocturnal hemisphere and also in nocturnal sign. This is a concurrency or repetition of three factors, right? So if all these three factors are aligned together, this is a great combination. It is called the hayyiz or hayyiz in traditional Western astrology. So this is by and large. So what is the question? Please explain. You mentioned Saturn, Sun. Can we question suddenly pop up and this disappear? You may there is a question after the end of the lecture. I could not read the whole question on the screen. It promptly wipe out. So can we move on a next slide? Oh, so actually this is a yes. This is another technique, right? This is another technique, solar half and lunar half of the zodiac. So by and large, diurnal planet, nocturnal planet, diurnal houses or diurnal hemisphere, nocturnal houses hemisphere. That was a very basic and very important technique of traditional Western astrology. So another technique is related to hemisphere, half of a zodiac, but this half or two part of the cake is not related to the day or night. It is related to the sun sign and the moon sign. Sun sign means sun moon sign Leo and sun moon sign Cancer. This technique is nothing to do with the previous technique. Let me repeat, this is another technique. The previous technique is different and this is another technique. Let's start and I will explain what it is. First, understand what is solar half and what is lunar half. If any of you have read classical Jyotish scripture, the initial chapter mentioned what is solar half and what is lunar half in Graha Jatak, in Jataka Parijat, and also in Yavana Jatak, right? there is mentioned that entire zodiac, and this is also very much for the traditional Western astrology, right? The same concept exists in Indian astrology and Western astrology. Each zodiac can be divided into two halves with respect to Leo and with respect to Moon, right? If you can look at the screen from Leo, starting from the Leo, right? Six sign counting zodiacally, right? Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. These six signs are called the solar half of the zodiac, right? On the other hand, the six signs counting from Cancer anti-zodiacally, reverse, right? Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius. These six signs are actually lunar half of the zodiac. Everybody, I think, understanding this is a very basic concept. But there is a very subtle point in this distribution. If you note, there are two luminaries, right? Prakash Gira, Sun, Moon, right? And there are five wandering planets, also called the Taragira in Jyotish, right? The wandering planet in traditional Western astrology, the same planet, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. These five are called the wandering planets of Taragira, right? They have a very special or beautifully aligned unique distance with respect to Cancer and with respect to Leo. Just consider, just, just point out the Leo in any chart, South Indian chart, North Indian chart, or field chart, right? Is counting from Leo, right? The sign of Mercury is next to Sun, right? Counting from Cancer, the sign of Mercury is Gemini, it's again adjacent. It's a 12. Second and 12. There is a synastry, right? Now again counting from Leo Sun, the Libra is three sign away. Leo, Virgo, Libra. Venus is third sign away in forward order. Counting from Moon, the sign of Venus is third sign away anti-zodiacally or in reverse order, right? This is a synastry, and I will tell you how it is used in a common chart. Of course, this is a natural zodiac or calculation type, right? Counting from Leo Sun, right? The house of Mars Scorpio is four sign away, right? Counting from Moon, again the house of Mars is four sign backward away. 4-4 relation, right? Mars 4-4 relation, Venus 3-3 relation, Mercury 2-2 relation, right? Now counting from Leo Sun, the house of Jupiter Sagittarius is five sign away forward. Counting from Cancer Moon, the house of Jupiter, the own sign or domicile, Swarashi, Pisces is five sign away backward in reverse order. Again, the counting from Leo Sun, the house of Saturn Capricorn is six sign away in forward order. And counting from Moon, the house of Saturn Aquarius is six sign. So note, this is a very unique and subtle distribution with respect to Leo and Cancer. Why Leo and Cancer? This is actually a symbolism of cosmic court, the court of heaven, right? Darbar, आकाश में दरबार लगा है, right? Sun and Moon are the king and queen, Raja or Rani, right? The Sun and Moon, the house of Sun and Moon, the natural house, right? The Leo and Cancer. Next to king and queen, there is a assistant, Munshi, clerk, assistant, Mercury, just next to Sun and Moon, right? Virgo and Gemini. Mercury is next to Sun. Then the Venus, right? The beautiful lady next to Mercury. Again, third sign from Sun, third sign from Moon in backward order. There is a Mars in cosmic code, the Marshal, right? The chief of army staff. Fourth sign away, square from the Leo, square from the Cancer in reverse order, right? Jupiter, the advisor, the mantri, right? The chief minister is fifth sign away from the king, Sun, Leo, right? Jupiter again, 5 sign away in backward, back in back counting, anti-zodiacally from the coin, moon, Cancer, right? And the Saturn, the worker, uh, you may call other mean word, but Saturn is the executor of the orders, right? In 6 sign, Das, right? From the Das Stan is a sixth in Indian astrology as well as in astrology. It's a worker. It's a slave. Slave is a like a but in a modern context. But Saturn is 6 sign from Sun counting zodiacally, and Saturn is again 6 counting from Cancer Moon anti-zodiacally. So this is actually a very beautiful distribution in heaven and in Western astrology and Indian astrology alike. They applied this technique. So we can move on the next slide. What is the name of a technique on the basis of solar half and lunar half, right? And this technique is called the proper phase. The proper phase is a modern English word. Actually, the old Latin term was almogia, right? And it was actually adopted from the Arabic word. It is called the al-mawajjah. Mawajjah is from Vaja in Arabic. Vaja means the face. Your appearance, how you appear before someone noble, notable, right? If you appear before a court, or not court means a court of legal court, a court of a king, like a darbar, right? So you should be in your proper place, right? If you are a poet, if you are an astrologer, if you are a clerk, you are a mercury, right? You should be at a certain seat with respect to the king and queen. In modern context, in a prime minister or chief minister has a cabinet. Every minister has a certain seat reserved for it, right? This is for this minister, this is for that minister, this is for that minister, right? So this is called the face. You are facing the king and queen. You are facing the Lord. You are facing the prime minister, right? If you are at a your proper place, right? Who you are, this concept is about the 5 wandering planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. If they are in a proper distance with respect to Sun and Moon, you are at a fit place. This is a planetary strength in traditional Western astrology, and this is very simple. In any chart, if Mercury is in second from the Sun, right? In any chart, Mercury is in a second from the Sun. It is called in proper phase, or Mercury is facing Sun, right? Mercury is facing Sun. The signification of the Mercury, the signification of the house Mercury rules, or the house where Mercury occupies, greatly prospers with respect to the keywords of the Mercury. Suppose if Sun is in our ninth house, right, and Mercury is in our 10th house, this is great. The person will have excellent intellectual capability and it will exercise in his profession or career or calling, right? Because Mercury is next to Sun, whether it's a day chart or night chart, right? And at the same time, suppose, for instance, in a rare case, if Mercury, same Mercury is in 12th from the Moon, Moon is in 11th house, Mercury is in 10th house, for example, and Sun is in 9th house. This is no less than a Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga, I am just referring for the ease of Indian audience, but it is a great, it is a very rare condition. This is a great combination. If a planet is in its proper phase with respect to Sun and with respect to Moon, both, this is great. This is outstanding. This is outstanding. Suppose if you find someone where Venus is in third house with respect to Sun, the Venus will be very bright in his birth chart. This is distant from the Sun, right? Next to Sun. Suppose Sun is in 10th house, right? And Venus is in 12th house. The Venus is facing the Sun in its proper place. Venus is in a fit place, right? Or suppose Sun is in a, let's say, in a third house, and Venus is in a fifth house. This again, the third house distance. Sun in third house, there is a fourth house, fifth house. So Venus is in a fifth house. Venus is in a proper phase to Sun, right? Suppose if that Venus is again 11th from the Moon, right? Moon is in a seventh house. Venus is in a fifth house. For example, take for example. So Venus will also be in a proper phase from Moon. So such kind of Venus is very rare, and if you find in any chart, it will give an outstanding result because Venus in this case is in proper phase with respect to Sun as well as with respect to the Moon. So double combination. If one combination exists, this is fine. This is good. This is not bad. This is good. But if double combination exists with respect to Sun and with respect to Moon, this is outstanding, right? Let's take the example of Jupiter. Mars. Sorry, after Venus is the Mars. Mars should be ideally in fourth from the Sun, right? And with respect to 10th from the Moon. If Mars in such a place, then Mars is deemed very powerful. And with respect to Sun and Moon, if Mars is, suppose Mars in ascendant, Sun is in 10th house, Moon is in 4th house, Mars is in proper place with respect to Sun and Moon, and such kind of Mars is no less than a Rajyog because it is in proper phase al mawajjah with respect to Sun and with respect to Moon. There is a double beneficial, right? Jupiter should be ideally in fifth from Sun, then it will call in proper phase with respect to the Sun. And the same time, if Jupiter is in ninth from the Moon, it is again in proper phase or facing the Saturn. If it is in sixth house from the Sun, it is very strong because it is in proper phase with respect to Sun. It is in a certain distance because Saturn in any chart in sixth from the Sun, it means Saturn in its own place. The person will have great potential of Saturn 9 characteristic, and possibly Saturn will give good result related to the house it occupies or the house it rules, right? And if the same Saturn eighth house with respect to the Sun, right, then this will be a double with respect to Sun and with respect to Moon. So this will be a proper phase, and such a Saturn will be outstanding or great. If a planet is in proper phase with respect to a Sun and with respect to a Moon, both, this is great. If suppose any planet is in proper phase either with respect to Sun or with respect to Moon, this is again a good condition. So remember this, and this is very easy. If you remember the whole zodiac with respect to Cancer and with respect to Leo, this is very easy to understand. That is very easy to know, and this can be applicable to any chart, any person, irrespective of day and night, right? So this is the second technique I have explained here. It is called the proper phase or almugia, or actual word is almugia, right? So this is there is another last technique I should next slide. Yes, and this is interesting technique, and this technique very interestingly also exists in Indian astrology. Interesting, right? This technique is called the joy. Joy does not mean the dancing in the club, but joy means in peace, in comfort, in luxury, in a fine position, right? And this is actually a translation of Arabic word farha. Farha means joy. The same Farah Khan of the Bollywood, right? And this word is actually translated into Tajika Shastra with the Harsha. Harsha means also blessing, joy, peace at home. And this is the same Harsha, the Harsha of the cricket commentator, the common thing, right? But they are not related to this technique, the Farah Khan of Bollywood or the Harsha of cricket, right? So let's understand what is a joy. Joy is actually a traditional Western astrological concept where planets are assigned certain good houses and certain good sign as well and certain good places with respect to quadrant as well. But here I will focus on the good houses only. Right? So there are again seven planets. They are assigned a special houses, right? Starting from the sun. Sun is assigned ninth house. In any chart, if Sun is in a ninth house, it is called Sun is in its house of joy. Ninth house is a house of joy. Sun is, because it's a Devastan, and Sun is also considered a god, Greco-Egyptian or Hellenistic astrology. So Sun is assigned a ninth house because in this concept, the Sun is a god, right? God. And on the opposite of a ninth house is a third house. In any chart, if you find Moon in third house, then Moon is called in is occupied in her own house of joy, its house of comfort, at ease, its natural place, right? There is, of course, there is a less similarity between the natural signification of third house and the moon, but third house is also the house of what should I call, the wife of a god, the contemporary of a god or goddess or deity, or the priest, right? There is a synastry between and sun. So third house is, this is the reason because third house is assigned to the moon and ninth house is assigned to the sun. These two are the houses of joy for luminaries. Luminaries Prakash Kira, the sun is ninth. Third, in any chart, if you find sun in ninth house, moon in ninth, third house, this is very good, this is very great. And the person will find himself in a comfortable position with respect to the places the sun or the moon, right? So again, this is two luminaries. Now let's come to the two natural benefics. Jupiter is natural benefic. Jupiter is assigned the 11th house, the house of joy. If you find Jupiter in 11th house, it's good, it's great, it's double benefit, right? Because this is house of house of joy for Jupiter. On the other hand, Venus is assigned the fifth house. This is the house of joy for the Venus. Find Venus is in a fifth house. This is good. This is great, right? Now, two malefics are assigned two malefic houses. This is important. Saturn is assigned 12th house as a house of joy, and Mars is assigned 6th house is a house of joy. This is with respect to their natural signification, right? Saturn is good in 12th house in the context of the technique of joy or the Harsha. It's called the Harsha Bull actually in Tajika Shastra, right? This is the same. And Mars is in 6th house. So this is the brief summary of planets in their own position. If suppose they are opposite of their own houses, suppose Jupiter is in a fifth house, Jupiter will create a problem related to its own signification. Suppose Venus is in 11th house, it's not good as, right? Opposite, right? Suppose Mercury, house of joy is first house. It is great, right? The person will have a great intellect, intelligence, young, popular, right? But if suppose Mercury is in seventh house, it is opposite to the house of joy. Mercury will feel unfit. He will not be satisfied, right? So this is the concept of houses of joy. Or suppose if someone has two or three planets in a house of joy, so that chart, by and large, the chart becomes a unique and special chart. Suppose if someone has Moon in third house and Jupiter in 11th house, two planets in house of joy, their own houses of joy, the chart becomes special. And it is rare to find three planets in house of joy. This will be very rare. I have seen a few charts, and by and large, I think maximum is four planet can be in a house of joy because the house of joys are assigned Mercury. If Mercury is in fifth house, Sun should be in the second or 12th or first house. So it is not possible to have Mercury and Venus in houses of joy at the same. So it is quite rare. You may find one planet in a house of joy, but two planets is quite rare. And if you find it, that this is a special chart, right? And as per Bhava Chalit chart or Diurnal chart, should be So this is a concept. This is the question suddenly pop up. This is a different concept, and I will explain later in NC and IC presentation, and it will start a couple of minutes after the ending of this presentation, hopefully. So this is by and large the next. Go to the next slide. The overview of the traditional Western astrological techniques, and if any of you has any question, then please, there is a question, I'll try to answer it. Saturn is assigned the house of joy for 12th house, but Saturn in 12th house, again, the question suddenly pop up and just vanished away. Can we have a question? I'm not, can you repeat?
Sir, can I
Yes,
read out?
yes,
There is
yes,
a
yes, please,
question by.
please.
I'm just seeing the chat. There is a question by Gaurav Adera. He says, "My question is, fourth house
Yes,
being below horizon is considered
yes,
one of the worst positions for Saturn or Sun in a horoscope. So,
yes.
what good effects are expected as per your interpretation?"
So again, let me reiterate. Just exclude the sun from this distribution, because in a daytime chart, sun is always in a visible hemisphere, right? Sun can be in 12th house, 10th house, 11th house, 9th. Sun is natural. Actually, sun is the planet that defines the hemisphere and horizon and day and night. Sun is the planet,
Yeah.
right? In a night chart, if you are born after sunset or at the time of 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 12 a.m. midnight, sun should be in 5th house, 4th house, 3rd house, etc. etc. So just exclude the sun. Okay. Now, next, actually, let's understand that Saturn is good for day, and Saturn is not good for nighttime chart, right? Basic point. So in a daytime chart, Saturn should be ideally be in visible hemisphere, in 11th house, in 12th house, in 10th house, in 8th house, in 9th. Ideally in good house, excluding 8 and 12. But if it is in 8th or 12, they are not as bad as. Now, this is in a daytime chart, right? In a daytime chart, if that Saturn that is similar to functional benefit with respect to sex, if that Saturn goes into the 4th house, this is somewhat not good, right? Because Saturn is losing the hemisphere where it should be. It should be in a daytime in a visible hemisphere, right? And 4th house Saturn is not good for a daytime chart. But in a nighttime chart, Saturn should ideally be in visible hemisphere. Saturn is not good in 4th house by and large, right? With respect to the result of a 4th house. But if in a night chart, Saturn is 3rd or 4th house, it will be less magnific. It is more like if you have a, suppose, आपके पास एक कोई खतरनाक किस्म का कोई डॉगी है, आपने उसको बंद कर दिया डब्बे में, उसको वहां होना चाहिए। अब वो प्यारा सा क्यूट सा पपी है तो उसके पास ही होना चाहिए। सो एवरी प्लेनेट हैज इट्स पोजीशन एंड प्लेसमेंट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू डे एंड नाइट, राइट? Jupiter is good in a daytime in a visible chart, right? But in a nighttime chart, Jupiter should ideally be in 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, right? Right? So any planet can be good in visible hemisphere. Any planet good can be visible. This depends on day and night, and this is very basic concept in traditional Western astrology, in Perso-Arabic astrology, in Greek astrology, in medieval European astrology. Even you read the Lelian Cardano or Donato Bonetti, in every second page there is a reference of insect out of sect. Insect means functional benefit. I have just used this term for the ease of Indian audience.
Sir, the next question is
Yes.
Saturn, house of joy, as told, is 12th house, but Saturn in
Yes.
12th house can lead to jail.
Yes. Look, these all these techniques and the general result of planet and houses are different. Do not compare it, right? Do not compare it. And this comparison will be comparing the apple and oranges. 12th house Saturn has dozens of results, right? Related to foreign settlement, result related to the sickness of and slavery and hospitalization and even the foreign settlement, etc. There are positive results as well. But Saturn is assigned 12th house. Saturn can give you satisfaction related to your profession, right? You will not compromise. If it is a daytime, Saturn is a 12th house, there are bright chances you may resettle or you relocated to a good place, or you may find good career in the place where people need help. 12 is a house of poverty, helplessness. You can advise, you can act for the people of helplessness. So there is another aspect, right? Every house has a good aspect and bad house. Imprisonment, fine, good. But in a daytime chart, Saturn is a house of joy. It will probably not give imprisonment, right? Unless there are other condition, extreme conditions, keeping other factors constant. So this is the point.
Sir, there is, I think, a question by Abhishek, but it might be a personal
Yes.
chart question.
Yes. Uh,
He says, how Jupiter in 11th house as house of joy in diurnal chart.
Jupiter is excellent in 11th house. The concept of joy is not related to day and night. I've explained. But if suppose a planet is in a house of joy, at the same time, day and night, diurnal and nocturnal distribution also matches, then this is great. This is great. This is far better than Jupiter in fifth house. Jupiter in fifth house sometimes gives a problem related to its own signification, related to kids, related to mentor, related to respect and blah blah, because it is opposite to the house of its own choice. Jupiter in 11th house is great, especially in 11th house. It's an asset.
That's also everybody is saying thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Very, very,
Thank you.
definitely
Thank
very
you.
interesting technique, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And new. So all of us have really enjoyed this. Sir,
Thank
let
you.
me know when can I share MC, Akash and
Yes, there is
Akash
a
and
part.
Patal.
Yes, sir. Can you give me an idea how much time we have? I will take a 5 minute break or 10 minute 5 minute break, right? So
Okay,
can you
sir.
tell me how much time I will be given or available? Because
That's
half of the
Sunil
lecture.
sir or Vinayak sir can tell you, but you can take a 5 minute break. So that's
Okay,
okay.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, we'll take a 5 minutes break then, everybody.
Yes.
We'll meet here, but please be in time because sir will be in time and then you'll miss the technique.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay, ma'am.
okay.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.